Jeffrey feels regret. He had another chance to speak to his crush today, but he didn't do it again. He walks home with his head held low and feels depressed. He berates himself with negative self-talk, and he feels like a little bitch. Adonis talks to everyone. He never holds back to express himself socially. Why would he? Adonis enjoys social situations, and so talking to everyone around him makes it easy for Adonis to speak to the women in his tribe. If you don't talk to her, I will. My name is Hamza. I help younger men through the Jeffrey to Adonis transformation through self-improvement. Scroll down right now, click on the subscribe and the post notification button. It's a win-win for both of us. I'm going to tell you a story about Sam. What's up, Sam? he's panicking whilst he edits this video. So Sam is currently in jury duty. Like, how mad is that? Like, he's been sent a letter like, you have to attend court and you have to like convict this pedophile or whatever. He won't tell me what the case is, but so he's in jury duty. Here's a couple of screenshots that he sent me, and so Sam's eyeing up this cute girl just like Jeffrey would. He's eyeing her up. He's like licking his lips. He's like coming behind her. Hey, do you want to watch Hamza's videos with me? So he said he would speak to her. He didn't, and literally for the entire rest of the day, like, he was overthinking about it, he was beating himself over it, and it literally was more uncomfortable than if he had just spoken to her. And so he's going back to jury duty the next day, and he wants to speak to her again, and I gave him a piece of advice that I think would probably help you if you feel like a little bit scared to talk to her. But first, I'm going to pass it over to Samuel. Sam, will you record a video of yourself and tell the boys the story and how it went and how you felt and what exactly happened?
No. Just kidding, I guess I will. This guy, Hamza, he sends me videos to edit, and he doesn't tell me that he's going to be putting me on blast in one of them. So here I am, editing my own demise. I'm just kidding, I'm not bothered. So the day before, I was like looking for an opportune moment to sort of approach her and ask her to join me for lunch. Every time there was sort of time away from the court session, there seemed to be people around. I don't know, that made me really uncomfortable. This was like my first approach as well. I wouldn't say it's a cold approach because like I semi-knew her. I mean, to be fair, not really. I didn't even know her name, to be honest with you. We were just on the same court case. I get, no, it is a cold approach. It is a cold approach. So this was my first cold approach. So I didn't want witnesses, you know. No, but if I'm gonna sort of put myself on the line, especially for the first time, I would like to minimize the amount of people who saw that, especially if I was sharing a court case with these people for another week or so. So I couldn't really find my opportune moment on that day, and that's when I sent Hamza the message, kind of kicking myself. It's not quite as bad as Hamza put it. I wasn't like whipping myself all day. You dumb you should have. Now I'm swearing myself. I have to. This is work. This is work for me. Every time I swear, I'm adding work for myself. But I was a bit frustrated. I was a little bit peeved, and I was like, I should have done that, because now I'm sat here and I'm thinking like, damn, what if she said yes, I could be having lunch with her tomorrow, and if she said no, it would be like, oh well, you know. So kicking myself a bit, it's whatever. I go to bed, wake up the next day, and the entire day plays out. The entire day, the plan was to sort of, you know, find a time at lunch to talk to her. Couldn't find the opportune moment once again. As I'm leaving, she's like behind me. I opened the door for her and stuff. She's like, oh, thank you. Yeah, we leave the building, and I sort of just awkwardly turn around and I say, excuse me, and she looked so confused, man. She looked baffled. She's like, this man, why is he talking to me? The plan was to give her a compliment and then say, would you like to join me for lunch tomorrow? But I literally my pants, so forgot about the compliment. So I sort of, it's really hard to explain. Like, it probably wasn't as awkward as my perception of it, but for me it was really awkward. I sort of looked away for a moment, and then I was like, and then I looked back and I said, I was wondering if you wanted to join me for lunch tomorrow. And she dead ass, she looks at me for like a second and she just goes, no. I was just like, oh no, you can't come. And then she was like, no, sorry, no. I was like, okay. And then I sort of just awkwardly strolled off, and she went the opposite way. It was kind of like, you know, as she walked away, I literally like sighed out loud. I was like like that, literally out loud, because it was pretty painful. It was kind of awkward. The repercussions were as follows. I felt kind of awkward about it for a few seconds, but then I was overwhelmed with a feeling of good job, buddy. You did it. you got the answer, you know. And I was very proud, despite, you know, the answer being so blunt. I was still very happy with myself. This is a bit of a weird one. Like, I wasn't expecting to sort of be asked to hop into the middle of a Hamza video here and give my thoughts or whatever, but I hope this was helpful to you guys. Take care.
So talking to her had a great ROI, a great return on investment. It took literally a few seconds out of Sam's day, or out of your day. And in those few seconds, best case scenario, you'll sleep with her. Maybe you'll fall in love with her and this is going to be your woman and stuff. And then you also avoid the regret of not approaching her. And the worst case scenario, you get the relief that you got your mind out there. Talking to her is a win-win situation. I know most guys are very scared. Okay, what if she screams rape or something? It's not going to happen. It's almost always a positive interaction. As long as you do it in a nice, genuine, like authentic, happy, non-weird way, which I will teach you. And I can tell you from my experience to date, there has not been what I would consider one negative, hurtful approach where the woman started screaming like, this is trying to approach it. It's not gonna happen. Now if you approach like a dick, yeah, she might tell you to f off. But especially if you talk to her in daytime and you just go up with something authentic and you literally just say like, hi, I saw you, I think you're really cute and I wanted to speak to you. She could be weirded out in a certain way just because it's kind of abnormal to speak to people in person these days because she's maybe obsessed with social media or some shit. But at that point, if she's weirded out by a real life interaction, you probably didn't want to date her anyway, unless you are the social media spurg too, which I don't think you would be if you're watching my videos. So you've got to assume that talking to her is a win-win no matter how it goes. And the one mindset that's really going to help you, essentially why you don't talk to her, is because you're waiting for the situation to be easy. If you were in the perfect situation where, for example, she was staring at you, you were sat next to each other, you were at the lunch break, she sat down next to you, smiled at you, you'd talk to her, of course you would. You want the situation to be easier, and that's why you keep waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. The piece of advice that I gave to Sam was that you have to approach when it's difficult. From now on, you want there to be people next to her. But when I approach, I hope that her whole family's there. I hope that the extended family is there right now. I hope that her grandma's there. Because if you only speak to a girl when the situation's perfect, you'll pretty much never speak to the girls. And the guy who actually goes up to the girl when she's sat around all of her friends, or when they're in the middle of the lesson, is the guy who gets her. And the guy who doesn't get her is the one who's waiting for her to like accidentally walk into his dungeon where she can be isolated. And so you want the maximum discomfort when you could talk to her, because that maximum discomfort equals maximum experience gained in this skill. Remember, just like a skill in a video game, we have to level this up. And so we can imagine talking to her, talking to a girl, is a skill that you've got quite a low level in. And you keep just avoiding getting any experience in this skill because you're waiting for that perfect opportunity. But you need to start it today. And the only way you can do it today is with the mindset to think, yeah, it's not perfect right now. Her friends are all there. They're all gonna like laugh at me and stuff. But like, you actually want that, because if you speak to her when it's difficult, if you speak to her when you've almost, let's say, you don't even have a chance to get her, that's when you're going to get more experience in this skill. So in a weird way, you want it to be difficult. And if you're red pilled, if you're watching a lot of like red pill alpha male YouTubers, I also want to reframe your mind, because personally, I don't like the idea of approaching, like cold approach. I think, having done that and experienced it myself, I think that's a very, very ineffective and very inefficient way to meet women. And I think the way better way is to talk to people. Don't have in your mind that you're going to cold approach, you're going to go out cold approaching today. What's way better is that you are now going to be the guy who talks to the people around you. You are going to have that old man vibe where when you go for a walk, there's someone there, you speak to him. There's another person there, you speak to them. Every person that you see in your community or anywhere, it's like you're using that as an opportunity to share your gift of love and kindness and your social skills. You're sharing your gift of love to the people around you by talking to the strangers. So now imagine this. You go for a walk, there's an old guy, you speak to him, you have a pleasant conversation with him. There's some woman walking a dog, you speak to her. Then there's a cute girl, and maybe this cute girl, maybe she's like the 7th person, like you've spoke to 6 people so far on this walk. And the 7th person who's in your eyesight is this cute girl who you would have approached in the first place. Is it going to be difficult to speak to the 7th person on that walk? Probably not, because you're already in a social flow state. You're already feeling like socially lubed up, G. Whereas, let's imagine you've had your headphones in. Let's imagine you're just doing the basic like incel red pill shit, which is like, okay, go for a walk, and if there's a cute girl, speak to her. So in this red pill scenario of cold approaching, you're not socially lubed up. You're not in the social flow states. You see her and you start overthinking because you haven't even opened up your mouth in public yet. And so you're doing like the hardest thing you could do whilst you're down here in terms of your flow right now. And so you find it difficult to open up your mouth to her. Let's give you another example and say you're in school right now. You could sit by yourself, earphones in, scrolling on your phone. And so you're down here in terms of, the social flow, like social lubrication. And then there's the cute girl. And it's going to be difficult for you to actually like even open up your mouth. It's kind of weird for you to like go from here to just being on your phone, being silent, to like speaking to the girl who's maybe 3 chairs down that way. But let's imagine that you've already spoke to the guy who's next to you and the guy who's next to him. Like you spoke to like 5 people right now. And so the girl who's three chairs that way, you've already spoke to the people who are 2 chairs next to you anyway. Let's say you're just below there, but this is so much easier than this. The reason why you feel like a spurg and you can't even speak to a human being in public is because you do all of your talking through your phone. And so the final piece of advice I can give you is literally follow the advice of what your mum used to say to you. Turn your phone off, turn your Xbox off. Just sit around and just go on a walk and actually like leave your house and go speak to people. With that, you're going to be sharing the new social skills that you've been learning. You are going to be the person who takes people out of their daydreaming, mindlessness states. And that's beautiful. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it.